Welcome to the RTS Installation Guide. The RTS series handle locks are commercial grade handle locks made in North America. These locks offer features such as PIN code and biometric access. In addition, these locks have, as an option, Z-Wave, Power over Ethernet, and USB programmability. These locks are available in the following models: the RTS, which is our biometric device, the RTS-P, which is a PIN code only edition, the RTS-Z, which is the Z-Wave wireless device, the RTS-E, which is our Power over Ethernet device, and our RTS-PZ, which is our Z-Wave PIN code only device. So here we have RTS box contents. Right here we have in the front your USB flash drive, which includes all of your instructions and information. And you also have our welcome letter, which includes information about how to get support, access to the website, access to our tech support chat system, and much more. These two pieces are very important to keep, and please put them in a safe place. We also have, behind that, the gaskets that are included with the RTS series. So you have here on the right the inner gasket, which is the smaller gasket, and on the left you have the outer gasket, the larger gasket. Behind that you have the mounting template in case you need to create a mounting hole in your door, and behind that you have the lock device itself. So on the top you have the outer portion of the RTS lock. In the middle section you have the inner portion of the lock, and on the left and on the right you have the handles. The handles are actually identical, so they're the same for inner and outer. It doesn't matter where you put them. Then below that you have 4 packages labeled A through D. Package A contains the dead latch, the strike plate, the dust box, and the wood screws. Package B includes the handle screws. Package C includes the fixing plate, the screws that are 6 30-seconds, and the spindle. Package D includes the mounting screws and the spindle spring. Here we have the RTS series latch and the RTS series latch cover. Step 1 is to place the RTS series latch cover onto the latch. Before we install the latch into the door, we want to do a quick test on the spindle. So to do this, you'll insert the spindle into the latch and give it a turn. This will ensure that you have smooth operation of the latch and spindle. Now you take the latch assembly and insert it into the door. Included in package A are 2 screws that are used to affix the latch to the door. Screw those in tightly. Special note: the back set and latch included with the lock is 2 3/4 inch. Upon request, we can provide you with a 2 3/8 inch latch. The next step is to install the outer handle. These handles are non-handed and can operate as a left-handed or right-handed door. And you'll turn the lock over and use the screws that are located in package B. Drop the screw into the handle, and you will use a long neck Phillips screwdriver to affix the screw into the handle. One of the most critical steps prior to mounting the outside lock to the door is verifying the locking hub alignment. On the back side of the lock is the opening for the spindle called the locking hub. There is a black line on the locking hub. The black line must be in line with the black line on the plate at the 12 o'clock position. If the locking hub is not in this position, place the spindle into the hub and rotate it to the proper position. The next step is to use the external gasket, which will be the larger rubber gasket, and you will place that onto the RTS series lock. You want to make sure that the edge fits over the edges of the actual lock. It'll go through the two holes in the latch. You'll line it up, and while you do this, you want to make sure that the data cable runs under the latch. The next step is to use the spindle, which is in package C, along with the two screws, also in package C, and you will insert the spindle through the latch. Now you will take the fixing plate, place that onto the door, along with, and use the two screws that are also included in package C. These screws are beveled, so you'll know which ones you have, and you will screw those into the latch as shown here. Now, what's important about this is that you don't tighten this too tightly. You want to get it firm, but you do not want it to be outrageously tight. The next step is to take the internal gasket, and what you want to do is make sure that you match up the hole in the gasket over the fixing plate that is mounted on the door. The next step, we will discuss three wires that are coming out the back of the inner portion of the RTS series lock. First one is a red and black cable that has a connector on it. This is a 6-volt power tap. Often the extender connector on the 6-volt power tap, shown here, is removed before installation. This causes less wire to be inside the door. The other two cables are connectivity options that will be utilized for future use. These include things like relays and serial connectivity. We will then need to align the main cable, which comes from the external portion of the lock through the door, and connect that cable to the interior portion of the lock. The next step is to tuck the wires into the door, the three wires, which would include the 6-volt power tap. Typically these wires are not connected to anything unless you're trying to externally power the lock. Now you will want to insert the spring, and this is the spring that for the door handle at this time, and you'll put the spring into the door handle aperture before you place the inner portion of the lock on the door. When you remove the battery cover, it's held by one screw, and this will expose the area that will contain the 4 AA batteries. Under the battery holder are 2 screw holes. We'll be using the screws that are contained in package D. There are 2 screws that are 3 inches and 1 screw that's 3.5 inches. The 2 3-inch screws will be used in the bottom of the battery holder. There is additional screw hole that is above the handle that utilizes the 3.5-inch screw. Also, you want to ensure that this is aligned with the hole that exists on the exterior portion of the lock. At this point during the installation, you'll see that we have installed 4 AA batteries. Above the 4 AA batteries, to the left of the mounting post, is the master reset switch. This switch is used to reset the lock back to factory defaults. To do this, you just press and hold it down. The lock will respond with the word initializing, and factory defaults will be restored. For the final step, you'll want to test your new RTS lock. To do this, you'll use the menu system built in the lock. The menu system has 4 keys on the inside of the device. This starts with the letter M, which stands for menu. You have your up and down arrows to scroll through menus in the system, and the E key, which stands for exit, and it can exit a menu or it can exit all the way out of the menus and put the lock into a standard operational state. To test the lock, you want to press the M key, the voltage and other information, and then it will say no master. This indicates that there are no users currently enrolled in the lock. At this time, you can use the up and down arrows to scroll through menu items on the lock. Please make sure that you are able to do this. If you cannot do this, it is quite possible, or if you don't see any menus, it is quite possible that the lock has no power and the cable between the two halves of the lock is not properly fixed. Press E to exit out of the menus. Now it's time to test the external portion of the lock. The first thing you want to do is check to see if the screen protector is still installed on the lock. You can easily remove this by peeling it off. Now, to test the latch and make sure the latch is not actuating, you want to go ahead and attempt to turn the handle. You should not see the latch retract when the lock is in this mode. When the lock has no users installed, to actuate the lock and test the solenoid, you can press the star key or the pound key, and this will actuate the lock. You should hear the latch trigger and be able to turn the handle, and it will retract the latch.